Right. So we're coming into a back bending practice today. Back bending is more demanding physically. And the work really is to try to find the quiet side of the poses, because the poses are naturally energizing. And so in yoga, we're always looking to find balance in things. So if we have something very energizing, we have to balance it with kind of a quieter side. So it's, I kind of like looking at the back bending set of poses that way, because personally, I like to do yoga to be quieter, not to be like upregulated any more than I already am. So for me, it's a nice way to approach this practice that can be a little intimidating, because it's usually quite strenuous, although with a chair class, not as much, but it still will be, you know, a little bit more physically demanding. So we're going to just see what we can do with this practice in a way that keeps us quiet and settled and content, and hopefully you find that as well. So we're going to start sitting, and take a lot of the support of the chair underneath you, but try not to sit against the back of the chair so that you're using your own efforts to sit up tall without leaning back. And just take a moment to roll your shoulders back so you sense they're sitting in line with the hips. And when you take the shoulders back, it should encourage your chest to kind of feel more lifted and spread. But then make sure you drop the shoulders, that you're not gripping or holding the shoulders up. They're just kind of hanging gently. You can close your eyes. Just playing with a little bit of weight adjustment forward and back on the sitting bones, side to side as well. Just become very focused in on the sitting bones. Try to find the centers of your sitting bones. Notice your feet connecting with the floor. Letting the feet start to release down into the floor. Like there's little roots starting to grow deeper out of your feet into the floor. We want to sense we don't stop where the chair begins. We don't stop where the floor begins. We continue. This is the definition of lines of energy, that we can send energy down beyond the boundary of the body. And now we'll just gently play with a little energy up. So imagine the spine, the energy of the spine, our central energy channel, starting to move in an upward direction from the base of the spine all the way up to where the spine ends at the brainstem. But then we use the skull to finish that direction of energy, to clean the energy line out through the top of the head. So it's like a clear, clean energy channel. So again, we don't stop where the top of the head ends. We continue somehow. And just to kind of play with these lines of energy, as you inhale, just lengthening, growing a little taller through the top of the head. As you exhale, descending those roots. And as you sit in this very intentional way, in this erect spine, you'll notice that you're a little more attentive. It sharpens the brain. The spinal position definitely has an influence on how dull or bright we feel. As you're ready, you can move your hands together in front of the heart. Try to keep your chest really forward and spread as you bow toward the heart. Let your hands release back down. And as you're ready, lift your head and gently let your eyes open. Welcome. So we're going to start with a twist, and we're going to turn sideways on our chair. So 90 degrees, you're going to face to the right. We're going to use the back of the chair to support the hands to help us kind of leverage the twisting action. So you might not get all of your buttocks on the chair seat. That's okay. Just do your best to feel kind of squared with your hips and your feet are right under your knees. You'll take your hands to the back of the chair and you'll notice one hand pushes while the other gently pulls toward you. And this will help you align your shoulders to be more square with the back of the chair. But just take a moment to engage the lower abdominal muscles. You can even imagine your hips moving toward each other or toward the midline of your body. And this will help mobilize the upper areas of the spine. You might lift your elbows slightly and widen the distance between the elbows to encourage the armpit area to open, encourage the chest to spread. And just keep your chin tracking with your chest for now. So a neutral neck position for now. And now slowly aligning your chin above your right shoulder. Taking the twist all the way up to the brainstem this way. Keep your eyes really soft. And now you're going to maintain this deep twist you've established, only moving your head. Let your chin track to the other shoulder, your left shoulder. And so now you're working with two twists simultaneously. You're continuing the first twist, the primary twist. Now we have the secondary twist. Still keep the eyes soft. Just 3 more breaths. And after your third exhale, just floating the head back to center. Inhale like you're being lifted through the top of the head. You'll come out of the twist and you'll spin around in your chair 180 degrees so you're facing the left now. And you'll place your hands just in the very same way. You're going to squeeze those lower abdominal muscles toward midline, also toward the back body. Just stabilizing a little there so you can mobilize higher up. Elbows lifted and spread, chest is broad. Neutral neck position for now. Pressing one hand, gently pulling toward yourself with the other. Coaxing that twist along with every exhalation. Regaining some length along your spine with every inhale. And now to finish the twist, just floating the chin above the left shoulder. See if you can visualize your spine here from the tailbone up to the brainstem. Gently wringing out the spine. Sensing how deep you've come with the twist. Try to really maintain that depth as you turn your head and align the chin above the right shoulder. Secondary twist. Gently working both twists at the same time. The initial twist and now the secondary twist. Soft eyes. Gently moving your chin back above the chest, and on an in-breath, lifting yourself through the top of the head, come all the way out of it and back to center. So you're going to slide a little bit forward on the chair because you need to have space behind you for your hands. We're going to do a seated, kind of a stationary back bend. So you can place your fingertips on the chair so they're a little bit beyond the shoulder line. Roll your shoulders back and just start to move the chest forward. Curl your shoulder blades in toward your chest. Peel the shoulders back. So imagine the flesh of the shoulders traveling from the front armpit to the back armpit. What you want to avoid here is that you're not hyperextending your lower back. So we have to tilt the pelvis back, which means you're going to feel like you're moving weight toward the back sitting bones. Okay, this is going to lengthen out your lumbar spine and not exploit that. Most of us are pretty hypermobile in the lumbar spine. So you're stabilizing down below, just so like we did in the twist, you can mobilize higher up. Don't throw the head back. Imagine you have a thick, starchy collar on, and your chin is an index finger away from the breastbone. So that's one way you can kind of test if your head is in the right position. Soft eyes. Keep tipping the inner corners of the shoulder blades toward the chest, and that it doesn't mean you're jamming them together. Okay, so keeping some space open between the shoulder blades. You guys look great. 2 more breaths. So feeling the chest lift and spread. The image I like to use with the sternum is like a fountain head. So it shoots up, but then it broadcasts out in all directions. So think about your sternum like a fountain head. Good. On the in-breath, lift through the top of the head, move into a neutral spine. You can step your hands forward. You can slide back on the chair. For the forward bending action, we're going to do a stationary child's pose. So the legs and feet together. You might add something like a blanket on your lap if you need a little bit of a spacer there or a little bit of support. You might use your arms if you want to have a little space. You might dangle the arms and just let the head go. No matter what you're doing, let your head go. This puts us in the rest and digest, which is counter to the flight. What am I trying to say? You guys know what I'm trying to say. The parasympathetic nervous system, fight or flight. So the sympathetic is that fight or flight. And this is flipping the switch here to rest and digest. So just imagine your spine once again, one beautiful dome arc from the brainstem to the tailbone. The contact of your legs to the chest, helping move the breath into the back body, helping to bring a little aeration to the spaces between the back ribs. This is so healthy for our muscles of respiration. Keeping them supple, keeping them active and healthy, flushing the tissue with oxygen. Just enjoy. So 3 more breaths, dangling. Make sure your head is really let go. You might be kind of halfway there in limbo land. Let that heavy head be a prop, like a bowling ball dangling from your spine. Good. And now you're going to take your hands to your legs if they aren't already there and press yourself up. You might need to take a moment here as the blood flow comes back out of the head. So don't move before you're ready. We're going to come into our lateral movement now a little differently than we've done in the past. So we're going to be extending the right leg out to the side. Still want to have a good purchase of your seat on the chair. And then you're going to bring your left hand to the chair seat. Mine's right on the edge of the chair seat. You're going to raise the right arm. And then you're going to take the right arm to the side. So you're essentially trying to create this diagonal slash with your right side body. So it's freeing up, hopefully, some room in the right side body. If you can't get the leg fully straight, just do your best to kind of mimic the general shape. The shoulder gets a little confused what you're wanting it to do. So if you have shoulder discomfort, that's often a clue that the shoulder needs a little bit more clear direction. Shoulder is part of your grounded body. So suck it back down toward the floor. Don't let it float toward the fingertips. Don't let your head fall either. So keep your right ear magnetized to your right arm. So you're resisting gravity. You have to be a little more intentional there. Couple deep breaths, and as you inhale, try to spread the distance between your right side ribs. Again, those muscles of respiration. So we're in a deep position. It's important to come out safely and wisely, just like you came in. So use an inhale, use your top arm, use the top of the head, and lengthen yourself up. Wonderful. So we're going to swap it out. This time, left leg stretches out to the side. However you can maneuver that. You might have to shift your buttocks on the seat of the chair to make it work. Right hand is supporting you on the chair seat. You know you have modified arm positions. If the straight arm or the arm next to the ear isn't comfortable for you, you can do like a more open arm or even drop down to a 90-degree elbow. So just start to move into that lateral movement of your spine, the sideways movement, the crescent moon shape. All the actions of the spine support deeper back bending. So it's important that we include twists and sideways movement to find more depth, better experience in our back bends. So inhales are useful here, stretching that left side body. Magnetize the left ear to the left arm. Don't let the head fall. Remember, your crown is a exit point for the line of energy that begins at the tailbone. So connect the dots. 2 more strong in-breaths. Next time you breathe in, that's going to be your exit breath. So inhale to lift through the top of the head, lift through the top arm, and you can step that left leg back in. Just take a moment if you need it here. We're going to come up to standing in a moment. So always wait out dizziness. Don't move before you're ready. I like to say move at the speed of presence. We tend to move quicker than that when we're not on our mats and not as intentional. So we are going to come to standing. I'm going to keep waking up the spine with a little bit more fluid movement now. So we've done some more kind of, I don't like the word static, but you know what I mean. We're holding things in those seated movements. Now we're going to be a little more fluid. So we're going to start with our chair table pose, which is your legs vertical and your arms vertical. So in other words, your wrists in line with your shoulders, your heels in line with your hips. Your feet are separated hip distance apart, and your second toes line up with your heels. Okay, so cat-cow is first. The cat pose is that Halloween-shaped kind of doming back body cat, like it's hissing or a frightened cat. So you're going to look for your navel. And then inhale, soft elbows, arch your back, look forward. You might want to bend your knees, tailbone up. Exhale, tailbone down. You're just going to do 3 more of these with your breath. So let the breath kind of dictate where to be when. The inhale is the arching back bend, and the exhale is the rounded spine forward bend. Just be very aware of how this feels along the spine and throughout the back body, maybe also the legs, just noticing any clues you're given. We'll do 1 more. And wherever you are with it, float back to a neutral spine, right in the middle. Okay, now we're going to do kidney squeeze. So this is just as much for the outer hips and spine as it is for the kidneys, but it's called kidney squeeze because we get a little massage to the kidneys, which is great because kidneys are considered our battery packs. If we have sluggish kidneys, we tend to feel pretty bad. So we're going to roll our hips to the left, roll both hips to the left, look to the right. And once you look to the right, you'll get that right-sided kidney squeeze. Meanwhile, left outer hip has this big opportunity to release tension. So pay attention to both your right kidney, your left outer hip. And every time you exhale, squeeze a little deeper. Meanwhile, you're getting beautiful lateral movement to the spine. Just to include a little neck mobility, you're going to circle your chin like you're drawing the letter 0 with your chin. Counterclockwise now or clockwise, whatever you were not doing just before. And now you're going to bring your chin back to a neutral position, swing the hips through the middle and roll the hips to the right. Look to the left. Lean in as much as you can, breathe into all that good sensation. And now you're going to nod yes in slow motion. So your chin comes toward your chest and then away from your chest. Slow motion nodding. Keep holding that deep kidney squeeze. Last one here, nodding. Complete. And back to a neutral neck position, swinging the hips to center. We're going to connect the cat, cow, and kidney squeeze in one fluid motion called barrel rolls. So this is the idea that you're trapped inside of a jar of peanut butter, scraping it out with your hips. So we're going to push the hips to the right, We're going to arch the back through cow pose through the middle, roll the hips to the left, round the back through cat pose through the middle, push the hips to the right, arch your back through the middle, roll the hips left, and round the back through the middle. So make it fluid. First priority is that the movement is fluid. So if it feels kind of jagged or jerky, there's a few options. You can slow it down or make it smaller or do both. And once you find the fluidity, then feel free to work on range of motion or maybe the rhythm. But smoothness is first. And we are going to switch directions in a moment. So just note the direction you're moving in. Find a place to land and start to move in the other direction. Twice more, 2 big rotations around. And now once more. Back to center. Good. Okay, we're going to keep it right here. So if you need to come up or rest or anything, always feel free to do the needful in your body. We're going to keep it here. So when you're ready, you can come back if you need to take a break. We're going to do an action I call the rocking horse. So we're going to work with a bent knee. Start with your left knee. Bend the knee so we have a 90-degree left knee. We're going back to flexion and extension of the spine. So it's like the cat-cow, but you're going to have this bent knee. So on your exhale, pull your knee to your nose to your knee. You're going to keep your knee locked in at a 90-degree. Inhale, like you're going to donkey kick. This sounds bad. Like you're going to donkey kick the back of the head with the heel. So look forward, you're arching now. Okay, exhale, squeeze it in again. Inhale the heel to the back of the head, look forward. And once more, squeeze it in. And donkey kick. Okay, now extend the leg from your donkey kick. Keep the chest really spread, look forward. You're in this really nice stabilizing pose here, which is a big piece of back bending work. Stabilize the lower abdominals, open the front chest. You're great, good. Go ahead and touch down with the toes. And I think we all need to stand up for a moment before second side. So just take a moment to come up. Pretend you have paintbrushes in your hands. Just circle the wrists a few times, release the wrists. Once your wrists are okay, just standing in mountain pose, just a couple breaths. Drop the shoulders. Extend up through the crown, find a neutral pelvic tilt. Take the buttocks toward the front body. Take the front thighs toward the back thighs. Unlock your jaw. Receive the breath. Good. So second side, back to your chair table pose. Left foot is the standing leg. Right knee is going into that locked 90-degree position. It's going to stay there. We're kind of essentially swinging the leg forward and back. So on an exhale, knee to nose, nose to knee, rounding the back. Inhale, arch the back, and heel toward the back of the head, look forward. So 3 more of those. Hug it in. Inhale, arch your back. Twice more. Last one. Once you're there in that donkey kick position, extend the leg. Balance your hips so you're not the dog at the fire hydrant. Lift up on your left leg. Roll down on your outer right hip. Chest is spread. Look forward. Go ahead and lower the leg. Nice work. Lower the leg, step the foot under you. And again, come up to standing. I know I'm cut off here. I'm going to move my camera back a little bit, but just taking mountain pose. Just to recover, receive the breath. We are going back just for another moment to the chair table pose. So if you need to release your wrists, make sure you're doing full rotations of the wrists and just releasing some of that deep wrist flexion. Okay. So we're going to go back to the chair and then we'll leave it alone for a while. What we're going to do is downward dog. So this is like table pose, but you're stepping back until the arms are at an angle. The legs stay vertical. So walk it back, walk it back, walk it back until there's going to be a stopping point where you're not able to keep holding the chair if you go any farther. Remind your shoulders what they're doing. They're confused right in the middle there. Pull them back toward the hips. Let your head just gently pass through the space of the arms. Curl your sitting bones up toward the ceiling. Try to extend your knees more completely. Even if they're still bent, work toward a straighter leg. So we're going to come into a little flow sequence here from this position, downward dog, to a plank position. So on an in-breath, move your weight forward until your shoulders stack above your wrists. You might need to adjust your feet back because we want to place the hips in line with the shoulders and heels. From there, come into a back bend. So you're letting the hips move toward the chair and you're taking your eyes up. Okay? We're just doing this twice. Pull the hips back and you're back in downward dog. Step the feet to adjust. Find that first position, that downward facing dog. This is such a healthy thing. If you can tuck this into your day, this quick little sequence, it's going to be massively helpful for your body. So downward dog, plank position, adjust the feet if you need to. Drop the hips in place between the shoulders and the heels. This is the stabilization that brings us into the mobilization. So chest lifts and spreads, armpits wind from the front to the back. Broadcast that sternum, fountainhead. Good. And now go ahead and step your feet under you. And you're gonna come all the way up. Okay, I still don't have a head. Need a camera person here. All right, there's my head, I think. It'll be there. Yeah, good, okay. So go back to your mountain pose. We're just gonna kind of recalibrate now that we're standing. Drop the shoulders. Imagine you're standing against a wall. So things that usually peel away from the imaginary wall are the shoulders and the head. So put the shoulders to the wall, put the back of the head to the wall. If you need a little help with the shoulders, try to turn your palms forward to adjust the upper arms, and then just relax the lower arms so the palms turn back to your thighs. Keep your eyes pointed down. And check out the relationship of the feet with the floor. Are you just kind of pasted to the floor, or do you have little roots descending down? Okay, check out the buttocks. Try to spread the inner thighs back. Keep the buttocks soft. Good. And now blink your eyes open. Shake out your limbs. Release your legs, release your arms. We're going to come into crescent pose, standing pose. Don't need your chair. So it's freestanding, propless pose. So for back bends, it's a good idea to keep some distance between the feet because our inner thighs like to turn out, which clamps our buttocks and it kind of distorts everything. So if we have a little space between the feet, it gives some nice space to the pelvis and the sacrum, and it keeps our pose in better alignment. So hip distance with your feet. We're going to do the crescent pose 3 ways. The first way we're going to do it is with our hands to our hips. So most of us have these flappy elbows, and so you're going to clamp the elbows in, slide your thumbs closer together, and use your thumbs to push your tailbone in and tip the pelvis back. So this is the pelvic tilt we want for back bends. We want to tip the pelvis back. It's the action of drinking out of a soup bowl or a coffee cup. We want to do that to keep the lumbar long. Okay, so elbows are clamped, shoulder blades are tipped in toward the chest. You should already feel your chest lifted and spread. You guys look great. Okay, your hands are near the buttocks, which gives you permission to sense that you have soft tissue there. You don't have a hard little nugget, because that's a sign that we're distorting already. But keep the buttocks really spreading, keep the inner thighs rolling back and out. And on an exhale, send your hips forward, lift your chest, lift your eyes, but don't roll your eyes in their sockets. You're lifting your eyes because your head is actually moving up and back. Keep the elbows clamping. And remember the distance of the chin from the chest. And remember what I said about having to find the quietness in the pose. So find some way to find repose here. Soft face, soft eyes, soft breath, neutral lumbar spine. These are all ways we can keep our poses tempered from that really exciting, seductive upward energy. Inhale, come up. Release your arms, release your wrists if you need to. And we're going to prepare for second version, which is a clasping hand position. So I'm just going to turn around for a moment. When you clasp the hands, there's a couple things to note. You want to go into the finger webbing, so you can't go any farther. You're tight up into the webbing. You want to open the palms like you're holding, I think, of a brick, because it's about the right size to fill the surface area of my hands. And you want your elbows fully extended. So we don't want these kind of quasi straight arms. We want really straight arms, because that's a cleaner line of energy. Okay. Once you have the clasp, you're going to treat your hands like the anchor point for your sternum. So in yoga, everything is unions of opposites. So as the sternum moves up toward the ceiling, you're going to add more weight to the hands moving toward the floor. Okay, so they work together. Roll the shoulders back. Soft buttocks, your hands are right there. Hopefully it's a reminder to keep the buttocks soft. Okay, pelvic tilt, take the tailbone toward the front body, tilt the pelvis back, pull your hands toward the floor, shoot the breastbone up. Because the spine is arching, that's why your head is moving back, not because you threw your head back, not because your eyes rolled up in your head. Keep spinning the inner thighs back and out. Neutral legs. Good, keep the lumbar long. Don't take your back bend any farther than you can keep your lumbar long. We don't want to hyperextend the lumbar. Okay, rotate the armpit flesh, front to back. Inhale, come up. Beautiful. Release, let it go. So the classical version is arms overhead with hands in prayer pose, meaning the hands are pressed flat together. For a lot of us, that is not wise because it does a couple things. Either it hurts our shoulders or it forward rotates the shoulders, which is not good. So you're going to find the best position for you. So if the hands in prayer position with the arms fully extended collapses your chest, hurts your shoulders, rotates the shoulders forward, you're going to find an alternative. So either you're going to go into wider hands apart position, you might even go to letter V shape, you might even drop down to goalpost position, or you might even go back to one of the first two. So this is where we get deeper into our practice, is the discernment piece. Discernment means what's best for you. I can't tell you that. It comes from within and how it feels in your body. So pick your own adventure with your arms. Okay. Prepare the legs. So firm legs, feet are hip distance wide, inner thighs rolling back, soft buttocks. Okay, come to the top of an in-breath, and on the exhale, open the chest like a fountainhead. Broadcast that fountainhead in all directions, spreading the chest. Soft, easy eyes, tailbone moving in, inner thighs rolling back, buttocks is spread and soft. Temper this exciting back bend with some quietness. Soften your temples. Engage the shoulders toward the floor. Soften your forehead. Unlock your jaw. Inhale, come out of it. Up, 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 up. And if your arms were up, release them down. Roll the shoulders back. And just drop right into mountain pose. Okay, so the eyes blink shut. The weight of the arms is helping the shoulders release. You're receiving the breath. You don't have to control your breath in any way. Just feel the flush of energy, the residuals of back bending. Just get to know the back bends on this level. And you stay as long as you need to until you've restored kind of your 0 point, your neutral, your baseline, your regulated breathing. When you're ready, you blink the eyes open. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the chair. We're kind of working toward a pinnacle pose. Sometimes I structure my classes this way. We have this like grand finale pose that we're gonna do today. That's when the strap comes in. We have a little prep work to do for it though. So first thing we're gonna do is take a lunging position, hands to the chair, and the right foot will be the forward foot. The left foot steps back. And what makes it a lunging position is you have one knee bent, one leg straight, and also the back foot heel is off the floor. So you have the back foot heel off the floor and directly behind the toes. Okay, the front foot is also 90 degrees, but it's fully down on the ground. Okay, so what we're going to attempt to do here is come up. So this is going to be just move at the speed of trust. Okay, so you don't come up before you feel ready. But what you're going to do is start just kind of tenting up onto your fingertips. Prepare by taking the tailbone into the body. So that's shifting the pelvis back. Try to find a way to move your chest forward. Stabilize by imagining your legs, your hips squeezing together. You might just start by sending your left arm up and seeing how that goes. This might be as far as you get. Once your left arm is up, you might just take your right fingertips off the chair like a ½ inch and just see how that feels. If you have the confidence and the steadiness, you might be able to sweep both arms up. But you're moving at the speed of trust. You're not moving before you know what's going to happen in your body. You guys look beautiful. Wow. Okay. And now back to the chair with the hands safely, slowly. And bringing a spring into your left foot. So I like to put a lot of weight into the ball mounds. And then I step forward. Good. And just switch out your legs. So make sure you're not on a balance beam. You have your feet approximately aligned with the chair legs or that amount of width between them. Back heel is lifted. You can already be tented up on your fingertips. Shift the pelvic tilt. So tailbone into the body, pelvic bowl tips back. Wind the flesh of the armpits. Look forward. Okay, you're going to play with taking the right arm up now. Squeeze your hips together. Maybe play with lifting and lowering the left hand, maybe all the way up with the left arm. Beautiful work. And then with the same amount of awareness and focus and attention, come back to the chair. Put more weight into your right ball mounds and step forward. Come all the way up. That's piece one. So resting in mountain pose. I'm gonna take my sweater off. I'm finally getting warm. It's a colder day today. Okay, so let's just take a ½ minute. Watch the body kind of come back into the wise actions of the pose a bit more spontaneously now that we've repeated Tadasana several times. Imagine you have guitar strings from your fingertips to the floor, and they're just getting a little bit more tightened, assisting the shoulders to release down. Okay, so next piece is we're going to do what's called Ekapada Adho Mukha Svanasana. This is downward dog where you lift a leg. So you're back to the chair. you're going to go back to your downward dog chair, which means you're going to step back with your legs until you have reached that point in your body where you can't go any farther or you'll lose the chair. And then you're going to exhale and raise your right leg. So remember a couple things. We don't want to rotate the hips. So that's the dog at the fire hydrant feeling. Keep your hips level. Also, you tend to rotate your toes out. So try to really point your toes down, which means you're lifting your right inner thigh up. Good. And now see if you can take it any amount slightly higher. Don't kill yourself, but just see about it. And now keeping your leg really long and extended, start to move it back toward the floor. Walk into the chair, fold up your arms a little bit, bow your head, and just be kind of restful in a more passive forward bend here. Just a couple moments to let that go. So you're probably wondering why we're doing forward bends on a back bending week. It's because we are going to turn the action that you just did into a back bend in a moment. So these are kind of just the building blocks. Okay, so we'll go to second side with that. From the chair version of of table, you're going to walk back to the downward dog. On your exhale, begin to raise the left leg, but without rotating your hips, without the toes turning out. So lift your left inner thigh up toward the ceiling. Try to envision in your mind's eye that the heel lines up with your hip. It's not more narrow or more wide. Keep the leg straight, and with any amount of effort you can, take the leg slightly higher. Okay. And with just as much care, keep the leg long, start to bring it down, step it forward. And again, just fold yourself up into a little kind of a standing rag doll, using the chair, let your head hang, let your arms rest on the chair. Okay, so you're going to come back to your tabletop position. Yep. And you're going to move your left hand more to the center of the chair. You're going to take your right leg up. And with both hands down, just kind of turn your chest to peek out to the right. This is a modified version of half moon pose. Good. Peeking the chest to the right. Your hips are kind of stacking, hopefully, the right above the left. Now turn your hips back to both facing down to the floor. You can slide your hand back over if it helps. Step down with the right foot. The same thing, other side, right hand moves kind of more to the center of the chair. This is just for balance. So if it doesn't feel right to you, find the position that feels more stable. Raise your left leg. You're going to keep both hands down for this version. Start to stack your left hip over your right hip and peek your chest out to the left. Looks like a two hands down half moon. The classical version, we have the left arm raised over the right arm. We're just feeling this in the chest right now. Okay, point your hips back toward the floor, your toes back toward the floor. Slowly lower the leg and go back into your ragdoll position, just resting. Okay, so I'm going to show you what we're doing next so that you can get some idea. I'm putting a looped strap around my right ankle, okay? You can just watch for this part. You don't have to do this part yet. I just want you to see where this is going. So you have a loop around your ankle. Hopefully you can see that. You're gonna hold the tail. You're gonna go back to your chair, and we're gonna be raising that right leg and rotating the hips out. And how it turns into a back bend is you go back to that kind of donkey kick, and you're just lifting your chest. And if you can't do this full expression, there's the building blocks that come before. So I'll kind of slow it down for you. Holding that tail, you're gonna raise the leg, you're gonna let the slack of the strap kind of feed it out so you have enough length. You'll play with getting the hips to rotate. That might be where you end. You might be able to bend the knee. You might be able to start to open the chest. So it's kind of develops as it does, and you can't really force it to go farther than you're ready for today. So that's all we're doing. And remember, safety first. So you have to move at the speed of your own feeling of confidence, feeling of safety, feeling of steadiness, and put the ego aside, because you might only get as far as putting the strap on your ankle today, okay? So it's just a lot of our barriers to our poses is there's a fear factor. And once we kind of move through that unfamiliarity and the fear factor, then we can start to really work on the actual mechanics. So today might just be kind of familiarizing with this weird new thing. So we all have this strap around our right ankle. You're back in your tabletop position. The beginning stage is just raising that right leg back behind you and letting out the slack of the strap to allow yourself to raise the leg. Then you work with rotating the hips so that the right hip rolls above the left hip. Then maybe you see about bending the right knee. And that's when you can start to, as you take the foot back, it's going to help propel the chest forward. So it works together. One day, this will blow your mind, you'll do this holding your own foot directly with your hand. Okay, so however far you got it, you're going to kind of like very awarely, if that's a word, come out of it and bring the right foot down. Very consciously. Do not think awarely is a word. Then you're going to find a way to transfer your strap to the left side. This is where I like to say, are we having fun yet? Okay. So here we are. Tabletop, feet hip distance apart. Starting to move into the extended behind you, left leg, hips still pointing down. Then slowly transitioning to the stacked hip position, chest peeking out to the left. Then maybe seeing about a knee bend. If you can get the knee bend, then you really start to be able to move the chest farther to the left to open that fountainhead of your chest. And as far as you've gotten, you're going to reverse your steps. And in a very deliberate way, coming out of it slowly, safely. Find a way to remove your strap. Put it aside. And then you're going to come into your wide standing forward bend with your chair seat for arm and head support. So you'll want the width of the mat to the sides now so your feet have traction. This is our signal that we are concluding our standing segment here. We're winding down. So again, the idea that you're up against the wall, this time just from the butt down. So you want to really balance your feet. If you're all in your heels, you can definitely know your hips are too far back. If you're all in your toes with your weight, you can definitely know your hips are too far forward. So centralize the weight. Also make sure you're not crushing your small toes, bulldozing your small toes. Bring some weight to your inner feet. And rest the head somehow. So you might have to build up some height to do that, but get the head to down to rest on something so that you can really quiet down. Think about your outer ankle bones moving in. Because we're forward bending now, we want to think about our inner thighs rotating forward. Gravity probably has pushed your back into your front, so gently equalize that, scoop your belly softly toward your back. In back bends, we have to work to find the quiet. In forward bends, we have to work so that we don't become too dull, sloth-like, or sluggish, or inert. So just keeping the legs awake by keeping them fully extended, keeping the muscles of the legs contracting to the bones, hugging onto the bones. And in that way, we prick the consciousness awake. And we can really surrender and cascade the torso and the head down. Last exhale here. And you're going to inhale and gently lift your head, move your hands onto the chair, and slowly begin to move the feet in, heels and toes, until you can come up. And we'll come back to sitting on the chair. So after a back bending practice, it's important to do one good twist so that you make sure that your nervous system is kind of left in a quiet state. Back bends are upregulating and twists are kind of the antidote. So we're going to do a twist with a forward bend. We're going to take hold of the chair somewhere with the left hand, right hand. Sometimes I'm teaching opposite and then I double up when I teach opposite, which means I'm back to not opposite. I just did that. So right hand to the chair, left arm comes up, and then you're going to drop any part of your outer left arm to the outer right thigh. Okay. And then slide your right hand to adjust so that you're able to turn your chest well to the right. And then you're going to just take it a little bit deeper. So if you can lower down the connecting part of your arm with the leg, do your best. Your palm is facing out. And so you're getting this really nice turn in your upper spine. Of course, the chest is looking out. And make sure that your top of your head is consistent with your tailbone, that you haven't forgotten the line of energy. Okay, keep rolling your right shoulder back, soft eyes. Just 2 more breaths here, 2 more good exhales. On an inhale, you're going to come up just kind of like halfway, come halfway up and out of the twist completely and come into your seated child's pose. So legs and feet together, arms where you like them, hanging or tucked under you, head hanging. And then slowly rolling up, the muscles of the stomach strong, so you're supporting your spine. And we're going to grab the chair now, the left hand, use the right arm. And on an exhale, just dropping the outer right arm along the outer left leg. Adjust your left arm probably higher on the chair so that you can really find that fountainhead of your chest. You're in a twisting forward bend. It's a very quiet in combination. Right palm faces out. We're peeling the left shoulder back. Soft, easy eyes. Start to feel those right side ribs coming around, left side ribs rolling back. Unlock your jaw. And just 2 more out breaths. Let them go. And when you're ready to come out, use an in breath. 1 more time back to your child pose, chair pose. Arms tucked under you, head hanging, or arms dangling, head hanging. And now gently bring yourself up. We'll finish just sitting quietly and just integrating the practice. This pose is essential. So you never want to just, oh, I'm done, and then leave it. This is really essential to help these ideas we learned through the medium of the physical body, help these teachings permeate the brain and the heart. So use the back of the chair, sit against it, feet right in line with the knees, palms up, which is a more receptive feeling, and keep the palms close to your groin so you have a nice amount of external rotation in the shoulders. Adjust your skull so it's right above the spine, and then energetically lift from the chin up to the base of the skull, to the occiput where that bun is on the back of the head. Unhinge the jaw. Soften the facial skin. So it does take some effort to sit here, but you're turning the dial down as far as you possibly can without losing your seated upright position. So just go through your body like it's a building, starting at the top floor and just turning off the lights in the building, powering down wherever you can. This is a 0 effort pose, and that applies to the body, the breath. We're also not trying to organize our thoughts in any way. We're just noticing. As we start to quiet down, the ripples of thought become fewer and farther apart. The mind becomes more reflective, like the glassy mirrored surface of a body of water reflecting the big blue sky back at itself. Your thoughts will continue to come into your awareness, just like objects crawling across an empty room. Just notice them, let them keep crawling past. And we're going to start to move out of the pose, just inviting some deeper breaths in and out. Maybe squeezing your fingers, squeezing your toes, and then extending them. Maybe beginning to rotate the wrists and the ankles. Maybe rolling your head, your chin from side to side. And just sit forward a little bit away from the back of the chair. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. Take a moment to soften your face into a very gentle smile. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose and let it go. From the place within me that I know to be divine, I honor that place within each of you. Namaste. All right. Well, thank you all. And I hope you enjoyed backbending. We will see you next week. All right, take care.